I'm pretty sure you've seen at least one of these videos. These type of videos of people mocking police forces lately became viral. That is in fact Chile in the middle of a protest fighting against the police force. These protests have got pretty serious and severe, and have gone on for about 9 months, and I'm here to explain to you the reason behind these massive protests gone violent. The conflict started surfacing with Pinochet's dictatorship, after overthrowing Salvador Allende. You see, Allende had Chile under a socialist reform that consisted in the nationalization of private businesses. This also included an agrarian reform. Pinochet, being a right-wing president, implemented an economic reform totally different, based on neoliberalism. He took a group of university graduates from Chicago called the Chicago Boys. Essentially, their plan was to tone down the state of control and to increase the foreign inversion to the country. Privatization was also introduced, so this way, services that used to be public and essential like light and water passed on to be by private companies. The same happened with areas like healthcare and education. This model, to the eyes of macroeconomic numbers, was a total success because of the GNP that was very high and constant compared to the rest of Latin America. In 1990, when Pinochet's dictatorship finished, this model followed up, and despite making some reforms like upgrading the public education, health insurance, the basis of this model held on. Additional to privatizing other previously public services. This way, the popular belief from Chileans that Chile, more than a country, is a company, started to surface. There are many points of view regarding this topic, many saying that it's the economic model's fault, others saying that it's not, but instead the fault is in the corrupt politicians and businessmen, so the execution is the issue. Others argue that it's the flaw that the economic system doesn't include the people in it, and many other positions regarding this. Regardless, what's true about the outcomes of this model is that it created a huge economic and social gap. According to Leonardo Vera, an economist and professor of the University of Venezuela, poverty rates in Chile is of an 8% and rising. That was information from 2019. And he says, and I quote, "The minimum salary of Chile is high compared to the region, which is $423. But according to the National Institute of Statistics in Chile, 50% of Chilean workers receive a salary of $562 or less a month, meaning that people don't have enough to live in Chile despite its high minimum salary, since 50% of the Chileans receive a salary slightly higher to the minimum, and that doesn't go up from there, positioning them into an emerging middle class. Unfortunately, this emerging middle class hasn't been able to get out of this social status, since they reclaim their salary is not enough to sustain with the economic burden of the country, due to the higher prices, things like gas, transport, health, and so on, that Chileans are certain are extremely expensive. In function of middle-class citizens, Chile's transport system is one of the most expensive in the world. Out of 56 countries, Chile is in the 9th place. In families with low resources just on transport, they can waste around 30% of their income, while the most rich ones only waste the 2%. That was as of last year, until later on, because of the social movements, the price got lower. Do note only regarding transport. Now finally, for 2017, the 1% richest in Chile have 26.5% of the country's wealth, while 50% of the population with lower income only has access to the 2.1%. This clearly damaging future generations due to the lack of quality on the public services that they are obligated to take because of the lack of money. Then, the 6th of October of 2019, the price of the metro passage rose, which is what essentially unleashed the marches. Massive protests, especially coming from young Chileans and students, in their majority women, that later on descended into riots. The Chilean government tried implementing measures to silence the protesters, but it wasn't effective. The 18th of October the same year, 136 Chilean metro stations were attacked. At least 16 buses were lit on fire. The responsibles are unknown, but some claim that it was done by rioters. The next day, the president declared a state of emergency and suspended the race of metro passages, but he also announces a curfew. People kept rioting. 300 end up arrested, 156 harmed policemen, and 11 civilians. The 20th of October, Daniela Carrasco, a 36-year-old street performer, an artist, is hung. The responsibles are unknown, though some witnesses claim that it was done by peacekeepers. The 21st, classes were suspended in almost every learning institution due to the massive protest in Santiago de capital. The 22nd, low pensions got higher and power rates got freezed, but the protests continued nevertheless. At the same time, the abuse coming from the police forces increases. When it reaches October 24th, there are 18 deaths, between them a 1-year-old child, 535 wounded, 2,410 arrests, and numerous complaints for torture and abuse of power to the National Human Rights Institute. The next day, the biggest protest is executed in previously called Plaza Italia, now rebaptized as Plaza de la Dignidad, or Dignity Square, by 1.2 people in Santiago. The 2nd of November are taking 132 judiciary actions against torture, and arrests rise until 4,316 people. The 15th of November are reported at least 230 people with serious ocular injuries caused by rubber bullets, meaning that policemen are aiming towards the eyes. Sadly, Chile's situation worsens for the people with the arrival of coronavirus, due to the unstable economy and inefficient social distancing measures. Unfortunately, I haven't been able to see current updates on the protests or any resources to help them out. But if any of you know about an effective way to donate or help, feel free to leave it in the comments. But until then, this has been the success of the economic model of Chile. Till the next one.